nation's first coast to coast arm wrestling podcast. Your hosts are Jody Williams from Armtalk and Dan the Nightmare from Collaborate and Pull Together podcast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning in. Anybody who's just coming in, hit the like button. Let us know where you found us. And we're going to be talking about all things on and off the table. This today's show is actually in lieu of a couple of our other podcasts that we do, but this is a monthly episode. We got a lot to cover, a lot of ground to talk about, and we've got a lot of things coming up in the pipeline for a lot of arm wrestlers all across the board. Jody, I gotta
Yes,
tell
sir.
you, man, you run an amazing event. LLD Summer Bash
Thank
was off the chain.
thank you. I could have done it by myself. You know, we had the help of the board members. That included my wife, my best friend's wife, their daughter, and her husband. Of course, another board member, one of my wife's best friends and stuff. And of course, our son helped out. But I tell you what, man, when you put on the event, and I only do one a year, right? So I can only imagine what some of the people do when they have multiple events they put on a year. I can only imagine. So for me, it's just like, man, it's just been on the go, on the go, on the go, making sure the hotel things are taken care of, making sure, okay. And you gotta remember when you guys came in Friday night, we're at the venue and it was just busy because you knew they had the concert there, right? The
Yep.
outside concert. You had the Sisters Rodeo, which is down the road, and then you had up the other road on the other side. You had the reggae concert. So all the hotels were sold out, and it was just super duper busy. But nonetheless, I think for me, aside from the event that went well that I liked, I enjoyed the Friday night where we all went out to dinner after early weigh-ins, and
Hell
then
yeah.
we all got a chance at the event to come back and you know, y'all got a chance to come back to the house. We got everything finally loaded up into the U-Haul, went back to the house, hopped in the shower, got up, picked up the house a little bit, had everybody come over. You got a chance to go hang out in the pit, see what I got going on. That
Oh,
garage door spring that you're talking about. So you got a chance to work with that.
that's spring, man. Listen, you never knock anything until you try it, right? And I love the progressive overload that it has because like
Mhm.
pinning somebody usually gets harder towards the tail end, right? Like you can take them from here to
Right.
here relatively easy, but then it's getting from here to here. That's where the challenge is, right? So that spring
Correct.
really, really did help replicate that. I felt it. I felt every bit of it. It explains exactly why you are the way you are, as good as you are, and as strong as you are. So, you know, listen, I might be going to get myself a garage spring in the not so distant future. But I gotta say, the talent that showed up was amazing. The arms I got to grip up with and pull with. First and foremost, hats off to Peter Leland. I'm wearing my old man strong arm wrestling hat because this old man was able to squeak out a 4-0 victory against a very strong Peter Leland. While we're here, I'm going to actually go ahead and live hang this bad boy up on the wall right now. It goes right there on my
Nice.
trophy.
There it
And
is.
I was trying to discern where I'm going to put this beautiful plaque, and it deserves a spot right next to one of my favorite trophies, right next to the bison.
There
That
you go.
that is a well fought bison, well earned bison, and look at that. Oh, that it goes right next to that red wall with the red plaque beautifully. Um,
Looks nice.
right? I think it's like a perfect fit for it right there. Thank you for that custom award. It is amazing. Definitely has a lot of good feels towards it. And then the tournament, whew, the tournament. So I pulled left-handed first. Normally when I do a super match, I normally don't pull both arms, but this time around I decided to do it, and because I'm driving, I'm all the way on the other side of the country. and I ended up squeaking out a third place medal. Got one of these beautiful bad boys right here, and then
Look at the color. Look at the
look at
color in that
that.
thing.
Look at that. That thing is sexy. For those of you who want a nice medal, this thing is nice. It's got some weight. Make sure you get on over to uh the LLD Summer Bash. Long live Dono. What a amazing cause to commemorate a young athlete as well as to help other young athletes get to what they need to do and how they want to do things. So I got third place, um, left-handed. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but I sustained an injury during that process. And then I went ahead and compete in the right hand division. Um, Took a loss from Peter Leland, so he set the score right handed, but I was able to get third place. There's a young gentleman, I can't remember his name, but he's from Idaho. I believe he's like 15, 16 years old or something like that. I don't know what's in the water over there. I don't know what they're feeding these kids, but talk about like insane strength. Like this kid, his hook power really just was amazing. I can't say good enough good things about him, but I landed and squeaked out a third place victory.
Was that was right hand, right? Because I can find out who it was.
Yeah, it was right-handed.
You said that was right handed. Okay, because I can try to find out exactly. I hope I didn't delete all that, but that was 198, correct?
No, 176.
176. Okay. Because and while I'm trying to get this out, here's the thing. With Peter, and I talked to him after the tournament. I was like, going, bro, like, where was that during the super match? I'm just kind of curious because to me, as the guy who was announcing, it seemed like he kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm like going, you got to change that up,
Yeah.
You got to change that up. But, it's just, as I'm trying to look for this. Okay, so Kenny Wynn took first, you took or Peter took second, and then you took third on the right.
Kenny's he's the guy to look out for at 176. That dude is strong, super strong.
Yeah.
It was definitely no excuses. These guys showed up strong. Peter took the adjustment, made the adjustments, found a lane that he was comfortable in. And the young man was strong as all hell. But pulling in the tournament after a super match definitely poses its own challenges, especially it's a best of 7 rounds. Definitely.
Yeah.
Listen, it was, while some of the pins looked like they were easy, they weren't. None of them were easy against Peter. He's strong. He's sticky. He found good lanes. I just happened to get to a better lane a little quicker, to be honest with you. Had he stuck his the original game plan lane, I don't know if the outcome would be the same.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. How do you feel about that? If, because I've done this time and time again, you go to a tournament and all of a sudden, you're going to pull in multiple classes for example, or you got a super match, you're going to pull some classes. For me, if I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. What I don't like, and it's just a personal preference, not saying I'm right, but you'll have that one person who will lose, right? And it's because, that's because I pulled this class and that class and super match and, this, that, and the third.
Nah.
But when they win, then none of that's talked about.
Yeah. No,
you see what I'm saying?
Listen, I think that, it was, if you put your elbow down, you put your elbow down. At that point, there's no excuses to wins or losses. You put your elbow down. What results happen at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like you knew the risk. I knew the risk going into a tournament with a banged up shoulder. I knew the risk of what was happening. I understood what I was getting myself into. I signed up for it, right? No one forced me. No one made me do so. So with that being said, it was my conscious choice. It's definitely it bruises the ego, but you don't have to sit there and drag your own ego through the mud by, saying these things, right? In my opinion.
Well, here's the thing. It's a sport where if you pull long enough, no one's going to end up undefeated. And I think a lot of us, get so wrapped up in the wins and losses that, and like what's the newest thing we do nowadays? Everybody wants to be on a big card. Everybody wants to, have their shot on EVW and that kind of stuff, which I totally get, and when I say this, I'm only going to speak for myself for a minute. I know firsthand I am not EVW material at all, right? Am I elite puller? No. Am I a great puller? No. Am I a very good puller? Yes. So, a lot of times, a lot of people out there, not everybody, but a lot of people out there will set themselves up, meaning that, well, I don't want to pull this tournament because if I lose, because everybody got the cameras now, and a lot of your matches will wind up on social media, right? If I lose, then that will get out there, and then I might miss my shot or miss my opportunity at something bigger down the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, did we get into this sport to compete, or did we get into the sport to, hijack a certain class or a level or whatever, and just kind of sit there and ride on what because what it should be is that all the work you took to get to the top or get up that high should require the same, if not more work to maintain that, if that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. I think that, the minute you become complacent, the minute you start losing.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, that's my thoughts on it. Before we continue, though, I wanted to shout out a couple people that are in the chat. We got the Drew24. What's up? Ryan Boussier. What is going on? We got Jeremy Parker. Congrats on your East First West victory. Yes. We got the Lucky Ones in the chat. What's up, Lucky? And Martin G. Blast. What is up? Let's go. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button for this Coast to Coast monthly show. So with that in mind, with what you were saying, because I am now actually officially a member of the Old Man Club, I qualified for Masters. So I was able to squeak out, after all that, I was able to squeak out a win against, oh my God, what's Peyton's dad's name?
Sean Pickering.
Sean Pickering. Definitely had a strong hand. I still had just enough in the tank to take him on, and it was good. So I did get to come home with a gold. I wish there were more Masters, but you know what? I'm kind of my shoulders are pretty happy that there weren't. But I'm also gonna hang up these bad boys on here.
There you go.
Because they deserve a space on the wall.
While you're doing that, I'll let the chat know why you're doing that. So grand total, because I know a lot of times we get caught up in entries too. So without the youth, we had 185. And then with the youth, we had 210, something like that. Can't remember. Entries. And that's without without the youth, it was 185, which was 3 more than we had last year. But the talent pool was a lot better this year. So you're a big part of that. Thank you very much. Merlene's a big part of that. Sean Pickering, Peyton Pickering, Ryan Espy. Kudos to all y'all, because I don't think you guys realize the fact that y'all made the trip across country, across a different country to Central Oregon. It sent shockwaves to where people are like going, oh, I got to be there, because it was like, oh, a guy from New York. Oh, he's a nightmare. I got to see what this guy's all about. Or from the ladies, it was like, oh, Merlene's in town. Oh my God, And then of course, you got Ryan Espy, the Canadian Hall of Famer, and that kind of stuff. So I think by y'all showing up, that kind of just, added fuel to the fire, not in a bad way, but just to where it added more excitement.
Without a doubt, man. It was really cool to see different walks of life. Aaron Yearsley, what's his name came up from Arizona. Um, to help you out with reffing. It was an amazing.
You talking about Lewis? You talking about Lewis?
Yeah, Lewis. There you go.
Yeah, he lives in Idaho now. But yeah,
Oh,
he was originally from Arizona.
gotcha. Yeah, dude, I've met people from Idaho. I've never met anyone from Idaho before this event, so that's pretty fucking cool.
Oh yeah, you forgot. You got Rob Terry and Terry out of California. They brought their California crew up,
Yeah,
So that was awesome. It was Savage Armbenders
yeah.
from Northern California. They came up and made the trip, and I was excited about that. So speaking of which, here's the deal. So I feel, I want your opinion. Everybody in the chat, I want y'all's opinion too. So I feel once you have somebody come to your event, it's only, you pay it forward, you kind of owe them one. So I know next year I'll go to a Northern California event. I'm excited to come out to New York next year. So it's kind of like, hey, they came to my event. I'm going to go ahead and go to their event. SB came out because I went to his event last October. So he came back up, supported me, and came to my event this year. I'm at a stage now where I'm kind of doing that now, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I think that's only, in my opinion, that is how it should be done. And listen, I'm gonna take both of our taglines and match them together. These are the facts. We are stronger together. We are stronger together. And if we keep doing that, and you come to events, hey, you show face at mine, you showed support at mine, I'm coming to yours. We keep doing that, this thing is going to exponentially grow because guess what? There might be a teammate between now and next year's summer kickoff event that you're going to sit there and say, hey, this dude needs to come out to the East Coast. We need to put him on display or whatever it may be. You might bring somebody who we've never met or seen, and now we've got an opportunity to showcase that individual's talent, and that's where that strength in numbers comes into play. So I'm a full agreement with you on that because I think that that's how we get better. He might have a style that becomes my kryptonite, then I learn how to arm wrestle better because of it.
Well, I mean, of course, so in a roundabout way, remember Peter went to a MAC tournament.
Yep, I know.
He went to a MAC. Was it last year?
Yeah, it was last November in New York, and I was a part of helping, orchestrating that. And so, like, it was between that and me coming to being on your podcast, you being on my podcast. Like, it was just a matter of time. We needed to reconvene. Like, the stars were aligning. Ryan says I need to hit some. Ryan Boucher, I just wanted you to see that. You are more than welcome, man. I would love for you to come and join us here on the East Coast. We would love to have you.
Yeah, well, he's kind of sitting in the middle, like, okay, I can go east, I can go west,
yeah,
a little down south. So he's kind of sitting where in a good spot, But here's the thing about that match with you and Peter. There was a storyline behind that because number one, like I just mentioned, he came out to a MAC event. I think it was a Challenger Series last year. Okay, that's probably the first time y'all met. Then this year it was like, okay, y'all kind of crossed paths again at Nationals.
But never gripped up.
But never met. He was there, but he didn't compete.
Nope.
He was there, with Addison and trying to support her and stuff. And you pulled, so he was kind of taking notes, mental notes or whatever the case may be. And it was just weird that way. And then by that point, the match was already made, so you already knew what was going on. The storyline is kind of building between you two, right? And then fast forward to June, you guys had your match.
Without a doubt, it's definitely definitely was a build up for this event for this year, and it was an amazing one at that. I got nothing but nice things to say about Peter's wife, who made sure I was fed after the match. She actually hooked me up with a banana and a protein bar. So big thanks to you guys, Chelsea and Peter. You guys were great people. And then after Pole, we got to do a little bit of we did a little sparring as well, and I told him, listen, that's a move you need to go against with someone like me, because I think that move would potentially could have changed the outcome of the entire super match.
I
So
feel like I'm like
go ahead.
making every time I move, I feel it's kind of delaying, but kind of weird. I feel, in my opinion, as a person with no dog in the fight, as Lucky says, she's flying out to summer kickoff next year because she has $1,000 in toll bills. That's fun. I like that. We don't have tolls out in Oregon, so no, you don't have to worry about that. But East Coast, yeah. I personally felt that Peter did not exhaust all his options. It felt like he didn't.
Nope.
Now
He did not.
I asked him, I said, do you think it was better to have those guys helping you? Or do you feel like it would have been better to have your own teammates who know you in your corner? Because
I think it's better to have people who know you.
Yeah, he had Lewis in his corner. He had Cavani in his corner, which is good. And they're great people, but they don't know how you pull more than your teammates do. And I think, sometimes we get into the super matches, it's like going, hey, I got somebody in my corner. He's in my corner. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Doesn't always work that way. I've had, people like Jimmy Sheldon in my corner. I've had Ron Bath in my corner in the super match one time and stuff. And, more often times than not, if they don't know you, they don't know you, but going back, I mean, you have Merlene in your corner. I mean, you got two just sending athletes, that made Jeremy proud, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So, he was so super. Yeah. I mean, listen, Team Send It for the last few weeks have been out and about tearing up the country from East Coast West, summer kickoff, summer bash, Arizona State. We were all in every freaking major promotion that's been going down, and we're continuing to do so. I mean, we got some big things coming. Stay tuned for August 15th for Send It. Oh no, we lost you, Jody. The video cut out. There we go. There it is. So, a little story behind this. For those of you who don't know Jody Williams, during the show, he always says there's something called After Dark, and you could pay a fee of $99.99 to everybody on the screen type of deal. You can join us, but it's just more of like a, once you close up the podcast, we have a little conversation of things that we don't want the general public to hear, per se. So I'm at the airport at New York early, and I'm looking at this, just walking around, kicking some, wasting some time. And I walk past this box of chocolates. I had to do a triple take, mind you, Jody. I was like, wait a minute, that says After Dark. I need that for Jody. This is After Dark. I mean, it's perfect. So yeah, I scooped one of those up. Apparently, the chocolates are pretty good, from what Jody says.
Yes, they are.
So if you find yourself at the New York airport, check out for the After Dark peppermint chocolates, because they're damn good, and it's your segue into the After Dark.
You know what? You know what I'm going to do tonight? Dude, check this out. It's a gift from you and a gift from Sean Pickering. So with you, it's the After Dark chocolates, right? Dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
What Sean got me like 3 things of fucking Crown Royal, right? So I'm going to take the chocolate flavor Crown Royal, take one of those dark chocolates, dump it in there, and just let it soak in the Crown Royal. I think I'm gonna do that tonight and see what happens, because this is probably the first time I got a chance to relax, because 2 weeks ago I was in Arizona. What's that?
Kick your feet up now.
Yeah, well, like 2 weeks ago I was in Arizona doing that tournament, doing the play-by-play, and then last week I was at my event, doing busy stuff, reffing, announcing, all that kind of stuff. And then when the next day I got back to work, 16-hour shift. It's like, okay, here we go. 16-hour shift one day, 12-hour another day, and then the rest of it was 8. And so I never got a chance to really just decompress, So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead, get that, go in the hot tub, chill out. But again, I want everybody to know, because it was fun when, hey, I was like, okay, babe, what we doing after the the tournament, my wife says, "Hey, we're gonna have pizza. Invite everybody over." I'm like, "Oh shit, okay. Well, here's my address. I'm sending it to everybody. And like I said, when everybody came over, it was awesome. Because think about it, it was you, Merlene, Katie Hankey, Sean Pickering, Peyton Pickering, his wife, and then Ryan SB and his wife Victoria. We were all just kicking it in our backyard.
Yeah.
Got the fire pit going. We're just chilling and stuff. And then you were like, "Hey, I'm at your place. Let's go check out the the dungeon or whatnot." I saw the pit there. Let's go ahead. Now we're doing like pull up videos and we're doing hammer curl videos and we're doing pronation lifts, and it was cool because it was like, okay, and you had a good idea. That's what it's all about for me. That's why I was excited, because a lot of times you don't get to do that. And I thought by y'all coming over that was awesome.
Listen, I've seen so many videos and shorts of your pit, and I love that you call it the pit, your pit, because this is the pit, home of the nightmare. So wherever I go and I train, it becomes
there you go.
a home of the nightmare.
Nice.
So that just tickles me. And it was amazing. Beautiful home, great food, great people, great time spent. Thoroughly enjoy everything when it comes to uh, seeing other people's training sites too. Where does their magic happen? Man, I thought I had a collection of handles, but this man, Jody Williams, has pretty much, I think, every handle that's ever existed, and some that I didn't even know existed. That I was like, what? That's pretty badass. That's cool.
There's a good thing and a bad thing about that. The bad thing is that sometimes I don't always get to use them, because and as I explained to you, you were like, "Well, which ones do you use?" I said, "It all depends on what tournament I got coming up. It depends on if I'm training for a certain person, then okay, I'm gonna use these couple handles, and I kind of narrow it down. The set I got from Corey Miller with the different, the mold of the hand, different sizes." That's probably the more ones I use a lot more recently now, aside from like the arm sport ones, with the wrist wrench and stuff. Because the fact that, well, you saw, I mean, you got small ones, you got big ones, bigger ones, gigantic ones, skinny ones, because everyone's
all different sizes.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to get my body back because now I'm doing a lot of pull-ups now, doing this, pull-up hang that everybody's doing now. I'm doing a lot of pull-ups now to kind of get my core and my back, kind of back into the game. I decided last minute that I was going to go to this Idaho tournament next month. And I didn't plan on going because it's like we get back from vacation. Let's see, we'll be gone from July 8th through the 15th. And I think that tournament is that Saturday, which is a few days after that. And I wasn't going to go. I didn't know ship I'll be in. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do it. Because I was talking to Lewis about it. He kind of talked me into it to a certain degree. We're,
I'm like, twisted your arm in there. I heard the conversation.
So I was like, you know what? I'll make that 6-hour trip. It's no big deal, So I'll go over ahead and do that. And I'm like, yeah, let's just see what happens,
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool. I definitely want to head back to the West Coast. So, Jody,
yes,
I want you to know something.
Okay.
This is another feather in the cap. I am currently undefeated in super matches on the West Coast. This is my second 4-0 victory. Yep. First one was Kevin Roy, Playboy Roy in Montana.
Yeah.
Peter Leland. So listen, I gotta get myself a map, put a pin in it type of deal. So that way I could have my victories, placed in like that. Because that to me is my first time ever in the state of Oregon. Mm-hmm. First time ever, driving. I drove to go pick up Marlene from Redmond all the way up to Portland and back, and it was a nice drive. It was a beautiful drive at that. And I saw a llama farm, which I've never seen before in my life, or alpaca farm. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was damn cool to see all that. And so many fucking pine trees.
Yeah. I'm glad you got a chance to see that because you coming from there's nothing but buildings upon buildings and more buildings. And when you come out west to Pacific Northwest, it's the opposite. Instead of the buildings upon buildings, we got mountains upon mountains and mountains and mountains and trees all over. And it's very, very green over here, you know, color-wise. Yeah. I tell you what, probably one of the best days, in my opinion, is when it's winter and it's, you know, all the trees got the snow covered, you know, and the mountains got covered with the snow cap, but yet it's probably 32 degrees, but yet the skies are blue, but it's colder than shit. But I tell you what, the scenery is just unbelievable. Postcard worthy.
32 degrees cold as shit. Are you kidding me? It gets to like 15 degrees here and it feels like -5 because of that freaking icy cold. I'm on an island, so in the winter it sucks. So, but definitely a must do. Anybody who's watching, put Oregon on your map of places to go, places to visit. Make a stop over at Chocolate Thunder's house, you know, if you can. Link up with him because not only is he a great dude, but he's, you know, got some really cool. I think he's got an arm wrestling tool for every week of the year, if not more. And you could probably do like literally 1 week, I'm going to use this handle. 1 week, I'm going to use that handle and still have some left over for, you know, extra burnouts. You know, it's definitely it was an experience this last weekend. My heart is still full from it.
Well, good. Did you tell people about the map I showed you in the garage?
Yeah, I didn't tell anyone in person about anyone online yet. So you tell them.
So I have this map, right? It's on the wall over there, and so what that signifies, I got a pin mark in everywhere I competed at. So you know, that's just something to kind of, you know, I can sit back from time to time, I'll just stare and go, damn, I've been to a lot of places. I'm like, man, it's kind of bare on this East Coast. So I better go ahead and start getting some pins over there because the only place I competed on the East Coast was that Winter Blast last year, and that was in, you know, Philly. So it's kind of like I need to get back there, but I need to do some more pin marks. So and that was kind of cool. But so far for next year, I do have one person who's interested in coming. They're going to try to make everything work to come next year.
Nice. I look forward to that. We had Levi Rakowski on the chat. What's up, man? Young up and comer from well, not up and comer. He's actually pretty established down in Carolinas. Part of Team Send It. He's I think what 19 years old, Levi, and this kid's a freaking beast already. That's actually that.
I tell you what, if y'all come out here again next year, if you add Levi to the mix, you and Merlene come out here, Jeremy's going to be like, you know what? I'm taking Team Send It. I'm going to send him out to Oregon so we can fuck up y'all's tournament and we're going to take all the awards. Man, because before y'all came out, it was Idaho that was always coming over here wrecking shit, you know, and then all of a sudden there was a couple big hitters that didn't make it, but now you got Pastor Mark Owen and his, you know, squad. They come every year, but yeah, I'm thinking about one of these years get a team competition.
There you go. That would be awesome, man.
You got Oregon, you got Washington, you got California came in. Idaho had a few people. Team Send It had a few people. So you know, it's kind of like, okay, you know, we could probably, you know, get some stuff done, or just bring your team. Because, I mean, even within Oregon, you got probably 3 or 4 different teams, you know, because you got the Roseburg team, which is Peter. You got Nick Mode and Pastor Mark and the Brute Squad. It's in the Portland area. You know, you got my team, you know, home base, and there's another team there. So that might be something to look into, you know.
Hell yeah. So Levi, I just want to share. Levi was the guy who was taking pictures at the summer kickoff. Levi. Talk about a beautiful setting for great pictures and great shots. Oregon's definitely, you know, up there by way of, you know, just aesthetically being a beautiful spot to take a good shot. So I definitely want to see if we can make that happen next year. Bring you out there. So I do want to switch gears a little bit with you, Jody. And I know you talked about this on your Can-Am connection earlier this week. Now, pulling safely and proper foot attire. I'm going to go ahead and rip that Band-Aid off.
Go
I
ahead.
personally think, I personally think wearing Crocs, sandals, or anything that you slip in is unsafe and unprofessional to pull in because let's say you slip and you land on backwards because you slip, you're going to harm your opponent. And it wasn't because you were trying to necessarily harm them. It's because you were wearing faulty equipment, if you may.
Mm-hmm.
You
Do
know,
you
I
think?
personally think, well, go
Oh,
ahead.
no, go ahead. Finish your point. I'm sorry.
I personally think that there needs to be a standard of practice that if you're not wearing the appropriate foot attire, you cannot compete. And I think we need to make that a little bit more of a louder statement because I saw someone almost getting their arm injured because of this,
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of scary because I'm the guy handling the live stream and I'm watching carefully, making sure everything's doing great, and I look up for a second and I see this guy slipping and falling, and he's not a little guy, mind you,
Right.
and I'm sitting there like, oh no, this guy's gonna rip his arm clean out of his socket. And that's what it looked like from my perspective. As a live streamer, I can only imagine what it looks like to the audience.
I was reffing that match. So, well, first of all, is this a soapbox?
I guess we can call this a soapbox. Yeah, a little bit. Uh-oh. Wonder where Jody went.
If
So
this is a soapbox, then sponsored by yes, here's my soap right here. Caress Daily Silk Soap. That's right. That's what I roll. This is white peach and orange blossom. Yes, guys, Chocolate Thunder and the family uses this. So if this is a soapbox edition, here we go. Well, first of all, my first question would be when you see people competing in Crocs, right? Do you think they're mimicking a certain somebody who does that? And they're like one of the
yes,
biggest names in the sport. Do you think people are mimicking that?
without a doubt, I think that one, they're mimicking it. Two, this take it or leave it at for what it is at people at home. I think that you're kind of turning your nose down to your competition. I just threw my slip-ons and not treating it like a professional event type of deal. You know, that's just my opinion. I'm not speaking for anyone else. I personally think that that's definitely not a
Shoebox.
professional way,
Right.
Mister
Well,
PETA.
okay. Here's my thing. If you're at a practice, if you want to wear Crocs or slides or even barefooted, be that as it may, go do your thing. I personally think because I'm gonna give you two sides of that story, involving both people. So when you're at a tournament, I understand you probably want to be comfortable as possible, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man. If you get hurt, then you can't complain. But so I was reffing that match, and one of the guys, it was a super heavyweight class. One of the guys, well, actually, they both had Crocs on. Let's start with that. Both
Mm-hmm.
opponents had Crocs on. So you got the one guy, and they were really, I won't use the word violent on the table. I would use the word aggressive, right?
Okay.
So you're aggressive as far, and just so we're clear, the tables were bolted down to the plywood, just so we're clear, right? In fact, one of the bolts got bent because of that match. So I had a hard
Yeah.
time getting out. But nonetheless, you got the one guy posting back super hard when he pulled back this way, and all of a sudden the table started to go this way, and the guy's arm kind of went like this, And I'm thinking, okay. Let's just be safe for a second. And I realized a picture was shown to me, and I said, the person was like, "Hey, look at this." I'm looking at video, say, "Hey, do me a favor, send that photo to me." So they send it to me. I go down. We're in the intermission, and I go and tell them and say, "Hey, man, just so you know, you got to have at least one foot on the floor, on the ground." So you know how you got that arm wrestle table with the bar in the middle?
Yep.
So he had both, feet on there. And he was like, oh, that's why I started. I'm like, yeah, I understand that. But you got to at least have one foot on the ground at all times. You can have your foot on the peg if you want to or whatever the fuck. But one foot has to be on the ground because he lost balance, which is why that happened. Now, the
Yep.
other guy that got his arm stretched out that way, his situation, he couldn't get comfortable because he tried to, he wanted to come in there with that Jerry, flop, but he couldn't put his foot on the leg of the table because it kept sliding down because you're wearing fucking Crocs. Like, there's no traction. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, all right, people, like, if you get hurt, that's on you. But, as a promoter / director, referee, MC that day, thank God you guys signed those waivers. That way, General Duffy's is not, responsible for that. I'm not responsible. That's your own deal. But, some of these guys have been pulling for years and years and years. And, you know the rules, man, but there hasn't been a rule saying that you could not wear Crocs. But at the same time, you got to remember, one, we're pulling outside. And if you're not, pulling at the moment, you're walking around on outside, there's dust coming up, So, that's going to ruin traction. So I don't know. That's just my point of view. I don't think there should be, like I said, practice because you're not really going.
Yeah, no, I think for competition purposes, I think there should be a standard. I think that, like, if the ref sees that you are not wearing shoes, or maybe even at registration, hey, do you have shoes with you? Type of deal. Like, come in your Crocs, fine, by all means, but you better be ready to compete in some appropriate footwear. Like, you won't see someone on a football field wearing regular sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
Or you won't see them on the basketball court, wearing, hiking shoes. No, like, there's a specific footwear that they wear. We want to be a professional sport. If you want, I don't know.
We can venture into splitting hairs because there are some athletes out there who wear cowboy boots. Now, technically,
there's no traction there. Yeah,
but they're a lot safer than fucking Crocs, though.
That's true. They do protect the ankle. They are safer than wearing Crocs. However, there is no traction, so that it does pose a similar scenario situation.
I'll tell you what, I've never seen nobody in a pair of cowboy boots try to put their foot on the leg of a table, though, either. So
that's true. That's true. Yeah, because they usually wear the cowboy boots for the height, right? It gives them the height so they can get to, excuse me, get the height and get to their position. But I mean, I think the footwear is definitely a secondary issue to the both feet being on the floor. Had they both were on the floor, maybe it would be a different story, and we would have paid a little less attention to what the actual footwear were, possibly. But in my opinion, if you're going to compete at an event, wear fucking shoes. If you don't want to wear them, bring a pair of shoes, slap them on just before your class goes up, and take them off and go back to your Crocs. Your car can't be that far away where you can just toss them into your car. You know what I mean? It really does not make a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal, in my opinion.
Drew's comment said, Drew said, yeah, I thought general rule was 1 foot on the ground at the start of the match, but after you could lift both up. That I don't know about lifting both up once they're ready to go, but I know you had to get at least 1 foot on the ground because if you, let's just say you lift both feet off the ground, how are you going to arm wrestle at that point?
Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. I'm probably going to get crucified for it, but 1 foot at all times during the match needs to be in contact with the floor.
That's what
I think that's the standard of practice that I know of and that I remember hearing. Because occasionally I'll put 1 foot up on the peg, on the opposite legs rather, for back pressure pulls type of deal. Yeah. But that I will never have 2 feet leaving the ground. I feel like that's. What are we doing there at that point, right? I mean, at practice I'll have some fun with that, but I won't actually ever do that, in a tournament or a super match.
Right. And then Mr. Peanut says the question is not if the Crocs are safe. The question is, do you want to be associated with people who wears Crocs? So again, I've never owned a pair, so I really can't speak on that. What I can say though is I've heard that those things are real super light, which makes it real comfortable.
Listen, I'm not in the sport of arm wrestling for comfort. I'll tell you that right now. If I wanted to do a comfortable sport, I'd pick something else up. Maybe competitive knitting.
So, but that was a good topic because I think and I'm hoping going forward that I don't know, maybe it's just one of those deals where hey, we're pulling outside, fine, whatever, because the other guy, the guy that got pulled over, he's come to my events every year and he's never worn Crocs before until last weekend.
Interesting.
So not sure what happened there. The truth.
Love you, Drew.
As far as the other guy, I've never seen him wear Crocs at a tournament either. So maybe it's just, hey, it's going to be 82 degrees today. Fuck it. Let's go ahead and just be comfortable. Whatever, So
fair point. Let's see. Let's talk about, we talked about your event a little bit, but let's talk about actually the previous week because we didn't have a coast to coast since then, right? We had a summer kickoff, and then we had East vs. West and Arizona State all in the same day. I mean, not to forget the other events that happened, but I'll start off with summer.
It's a holiday.
Yes, the arm wrestling holiday, the national arm wrestling holiday, North America, I should say, arm wrestling, because there's some events up in Canada too. So don't want to forget about our brothers and sisters up north. So at my event, summer kickoff, which took place here in the pit, Deer Park, New York, we had about, I want to say, 70 arm wrestlers and probably about another 40 people here spectating.
Right.
Maybe a little bit more than that with the spectators. And it was unreal. Energy was awesome. And it was the most I've ever had here in the pit at any of my events. It was the biggest and best events. Soon we will be seeing some aerial footage of it because my buddy with a drone, he's doing some editing. He had some familial issues that he had to take care of, but once he gets up to me, I'll be sharing that. It was a really cool experience. Michael Hawks, big shout out to him. He's a mason by trade. He came over here and helped me make an amazingly beautiful patio for this to take place on, to go with my deck and new gazebo. And then we had, people from Virginia, Florida, Puerto Rico. We had the largest Puerto Rican contingency across all of the United States to ever show up at an event, showed up here. We had countless people arm wrestling for the first time too. And they all said they loved the event. They loved the energy. First time in arm wrestling in New York, let alone Long Island. Definitely a cool experience. Great catering, a lot of fun there. So then you were at Arizona State. So talk to us a little bit about that.
We had,
unless you want to go back to summer kickoff rather.
No, we could talk about it because with EVW you had all the stars were there.
Yep.
If the ones that weren't pulling were like Devin, Levon, Travis, John Brezink, Neil Pickup, Coach Ray. Where I was at, it was me, it was Macho Man. There was Ozzy. Me and Ozzy did the play-by-play for the super matches. But here's that C word again, collaborate, right? So when everyone got done watching the EVW matches, they all came over to us because the tournament ran first. And when the tournament was done, we took like an intermission to get ready for it. And like here's the cool part. If you saw the tournament and saw the background, behind the tables and the athletes, it was saying Orange Sports Entertainment 10-year, anniversary. Well, when that was all said and done, they took that down and put up the EVW. because it was in collaboration, right? So there's that. So that was awesome. The talent there was, I'm sure if your event, Arizona's event, Arkansas's event wasn't all on the same day, I think it's safe to say that we all would have had more at whatever event was going that particular week. I think it's fair. Um,
I think you're absolutely right. And for the record, everyone who was at my event got to watch the East vs West event because it was being played in the background here.
mhm.
So it was a true collaboration between us all. I spoke with Robert Baxter and Dexter and asked them if they would be cool with me doing. They said, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the support. And I think that's a testament to the growth of the sport, in my opinion. But to your point, had there been a difference between the actual dates of these events, the actual physical attendance would have
Oh,
skyrocketed in each one of these.
no doubt. 'Cause I think, well, EVW kind of speaks for it's the cream of the crop, right? I think it speaks for itself. So I
Yeah.
believe what I heard, their tournament have 400 entries. Yeah, that's
Wow.
a lot.
That's a
Whereas
lot.
I'm sorry, Arizona State had 231 or something like that, 231. Still a lot of
Hmm.
entries, but great talent because you had the Supermax cards, which speaks volumes in itself. And so here's the one thing I'll say about Arm Sports Entertainment and Tim Talmadge, who had an awesome day, and now he's number 2 in the nation now at 198. So kudos to him, my co-host of the Can-Am Connection. But if you think about it, though, the array of talent, just like unbelievable. And he only has 7 super matches because for him, the more, and this is where I think you had asked him a question of how do you do that? Because you've had a couple hiccups, which, I
Yep.
think people don't realize that when you're a promoter and you have those hiccups, then it's like going, okay, now you got this stress to where, okay, either, hey, I got to find, some replacements last minute quick. Can I do that? Can they make it? Or do I just say, fuck it, scrap the whole thing? Then what do I do with my opponent who's just sitting there going, well, I held up my end of the bargain. I'm going to be there. What the fuck's up? So, because Tim got burned up like that before. So that's why he keeps his matches between 6 and 7. And that's it. Because then
Right.
it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, you got to do that, right? So that way you
Yep.
don't have anybody to cancel. It's like going, I've learned my lesson. I think it was cool for you to ask, to see, well, you're successful. I want to be successful too. How do you do it? How do you deal with that kind of adversity? All, honest questions, by the way. And because again, you had a couple of hiccups, and you and I have talked about this off air and how I felt some situations with. I told you, you just wait till it unfolds. And I sat there, I was like going, well, you know what? Maybe I don't know. How many matches did you have this year at your event?
So I ended up with 19 super matches, which I'm still very happy and pleased with. The original number was 25. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let me rewind that. Originally, I was only to have 10. Then it quickly jumped to 15. Overnight it went to 25, and then it dropped back down to 19.
So do you plan on having the same amount next year?
No, no. I'm probably going to have somewhere between, 3 to 10, probably that 6 or 7, number matches because next year I'm going to be rolling something out a little different. I might as well tease it a little bit. So
Well,
I'm
first of all, let me ask
reformat.
you, is it going
Okay,
to be at your is it going to be at your place?
so that it depends.
Okay.
It depends on if there's another place that will be available by the time I do have it. So it's going to be
Right.
either at my place or at another place. More than likely going to be at my place because it's just easier. It's right here. That so that being the case, I'm going to modify the round robin concept, the open tournament,
Ooh, talk to me. I
and
want to hear this.
so I'm going to modify it a little bit. It's going to actually going to be a high stakes event. It's going to still be a round robin, but it's going to be a
Okay.
high stakes, meaning you have to buy in. Now, here's the cool thing about the buy-ins. You actually you show up on the day of the event, you get to keep 50% of what you buy into. The other 50%, you got to win it. And it's actually
So
going to be more than that because it goes into a pot, which I will be contributing towards. We haven't yet to discern what that buy-in number looks like. It's not going to be an astronomical fee. It's not going to be any more than what we've seen in the community, but it's going to be something that it will be attracting. I want to say attracting some of the best in the weight classes, their respective weight classes, and it's going to be 8 people, limited to 8 people per class. So everybody's going to be able to pull everybody, right? And
yeah.
you're going to get your money's worth.
So let me get this straight. Let's just use a number just for the sake of argument. You said if you show up the day of the event, you get 50% of what you put in. So let's just say, hey, the buy-in's $100. Cool. I show up the day of, I get 50 back.
Yep, you get 50 back.
Just so I'm clear. Okay, cool.
That's pretty much essentially a security deposit to show that you're going to be committed to coming. Mm-hmm. You're going to get it back right away. So ultimately, at the end of the day, your true buy-in will be $50, if that's the number that we're going to be doing.
Got it.
And so here's the thing: is it's going to give you a level of commitment. As a promoter, I think that that's one of the things that if I'm committed to it, great. Now, here's the cool thing about that. Shit happens, right? Life happens on life's terms. Always invariably it does. I'm no stranger to that. I'm experiencing that right now as we speak.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later on. But if you have a replacement, let's say you can't make it for whatever reason, but you find somebody that's going to replace you and they pay you the money, you're scot free.
Got it.
You're scot free. The money that you've invested into it will just be paid to you by whomever wants that spot. And as long as there's communication and conversation surrounding that, we'll make sure that that spot gets filled. It's going to get filled whether, you get somebody or not, but I'm going to get someone to fill it, period. And that's my idea on maintaining and managing something like this that would allow for a high quality show. Now, will I do a tournament after the fact? Probably. If it depends on if it's going to happen here at the pit, there's no time restriction, so it might be a long day. A GoFundMe style entry competitors raise 5. That's funny. But it's going to allow for a higher level of competition, and we're going to maintain sticking with the points reward system, right? Because that's one thing I really like, and I think that's going to be a really strong introduction moving forward. That is, all my events are going to become point related on a point related system, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have multiple events that I'm participating in, and if I can help or orchestrate that side of things with it being a point system, maybe we can do an ongoing point system throughout the year that you get more points. And so you don't just get, the award for winning that day at that event. You can get an award at the end of the year as well, put you on a leaderboard of sorts. And that's something I'm going to be working alongside with other promoters that I've been in conversation with to kind of develop like a funnel system, if you may.
Okay. I mean, I was wondering because when I saw the results of your event, and well, first of all, I saw the point system first before I saw the event. I was wondering how that worked out and how do you get points and what does that mean? I was kind of curious of that concept. So
for those who are just hearing about the point system for the first time, it's a pretty cool one. So if you win, you start off with 5 points, right? Now there's some point modifiers that we work with. If you win and have your opponent has 2 fouls, but you win, you get plus 2 points. So you get plus a point per foul. If you win and you have 2 fouls, you get minus 2 points. Right? So if you both have 2 fouls, that's a wash. You just walk away with 5 points. Now, if you flash pin, that's a bonus point. Right? So you can walk away with maximum with 5 points, minimum 3 points.
There's a couple ways you can win too. Like if you win, you can pin a guy. That's a certain amount of points. But you can also win because your opponent elbow fouled twice. That's a different point.
Well, right? Yeah, you lose out. You get to if your opponent fouls out, you can still you get more points. You would get more points. So you could actually end up like, let's say you get 3 fouls and you're out, and then it's a complete loss on fouls and no pin. You still walk away with 8 points. So it really I'm sorry, what?
It sounds like TAWF, how they got that point system thing.
Well, that's exactly what this is from. This is a TAWF system. This is the point system that TAWF has, and it's just slightly modified, to match up with a tournament setting, which allows people to sit there and really strategically think, okay, I don't want to foul with these points, because if I foul, then I lose out on my pin.
Right.
Because somebody can actually have less pins at the end of the day than I do, but still win the tournament because I have all the fouls under my pins. Right? If I get
tricky.
Right? It becomes, and so I know Toph is working on a scoreboard, so that people could track those type of things, and I'm gonna see about implementing that so that you can see how many points each person in your class has, and you'll see their name, kind of like you ever see at a martial arts tournament. You see their name goes up, and like they have a number next to their thing, and they actually have. We're gonna have something similar to that, where it'll be a true leaderboard of points associated with a specific puller. Hey, listen, he's got X amount of points. I just got to make sure to either tie up with him or beat him. I got to make sure I don't foul, or I make him foul, or I got to make sure be just dominantly strong. I don't need to go for the pin. I got to make him stress out, type of deal. If I can get into a lock position and make him pull sloppy, then he's gonna foul out.
Right.
So it really becomes a game of chess, a true game of chess.
And this is June 5th next year?
June 5th next year.
Okay.
Summer kickoff 2027, number 7, June 5th.
And Lucky, you going to be there, right? Okay.
Of course, she's got to be there. It's going to be Lucky number 7. So, I mean, she has to. She has to. Like the universe is saying that she must.
Well, I tell you what, man, because I don't know about you, but I know I like normally, I like to plan my events out, sometimes 6 to 8 months out, maybe even a year out. There's pros and cons to that. The good thing is that, okay, I got my shit set for the next year, for example. I'm good. I know when to be there. I know when to take my time off. Everything's locked in. All I got to do is save money, whatever the fuck, train for it. I'm good to go. The downfall of that is the fact that, well, like you said, life happens. You may not be able to make it, or something else comes up, or another tournament like, oh, fuck, I want to go there, but I'm already committed to this tournament. So there's always that. But that's just life as an arm wrestler, right?
So I'll give you an example of something similar happening to me, right?
Yeah.
I had a match with somebody from Canada on the schedule, and it was something that we were both kind of looking forward to. But then I get a phone call when Monster Factory 6 shows came up. Shortly after this came up, I get a phone call from Jake Houston, and I'm like, dude, I have a match already that the weekend beforehand. I I don't know. I don't think I can make it. He goes, well, I just wanted to present the opportunity. I was like, can you give me till the end of, the weekend, type of deal? Let me see if I can make anything happen.
Right.
And so I called up my opponent. I'm not gonna. He asked me not to mention his name. I called up my opponent. I explained to him, and he looked at me. He's like, "Dude, it's a monster factory. Go. I'm not gonna be offended. You made that's an opportunity. I could pull you at almost any other event moving forward. It's perfectly fine. Go ahead. Take care of business. Go do what you got to do." I ended up losing. It was a great experience that I ended up being able to have, which I'm very grateful
I know
for.
how that works. Oh yeah. Hey, I've been to I went
But
to Monster Factory 3. No, 4. So I know that work. Hey, I've been there. I know how that is. See, I went there. The one I went to was the last time before he renovated the place. So
gotcha.
but
Well,
yeah.
there is a right way to do to if you end up having an event that does pop up, right?
Mhm.
Communication, transparency. We talked about this a little bit. Being transparent about what's going on, why it's happening. Hey, what do you have any recommendations? Type of deal. You come up to me and tell me, hey, listen, I was planning like you tell me, Dan, I was planning to go to your event, but Matt Connolly from Australia said he's going to pay for all my trips to go down to Australia and go arm wrestle, Ryan Bowen.
Right.
You know what I'm going to say? Go for it, man. Have fun. Please don't forget, do a shout out for me, type of deal. Go for it. You know what I mean? I'll be understanding of that. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, no, you sold me out. Tell me ahead of time. Let me know. So okay, fine. I'll pivot.
See, Lucky
Communication
got
is
stuff
crucial.
already planned out. Look at Lucky.
Look
She
at
says
that.
May 8th and June 5th already laid out for next
I
year.
love that. I love
See
that.
that?
So here's my question for you.
Yes.
When you're event planning, because this is something that I've heard in conversation, not necessarily from promoters, a little bit from promoters, but setting up for accommodations.
Mm-hmm.
My, and I'm still learning myself. So
Okay.
I want to set something up where we already know it's going to happen June 5th. I
Yeah.
think what I want to do, and this is going to be an interesting way to get sponsorship, if you may.
All right.
I want to talk to an Airbnb or a hotel now and tell them, hey, listen, hook me up with like a half price or some type of discount deal, and I'll turn you into one of my event partners slash high level sponsors for X amount
Okay.
of rooms for X amount of people.
You know what? Are you asking me what I think?
Yeah, what do you think about doing something like that?
If you're going, so let me ask you a question. In New York, when does school get out? What month?
Late June. So it's not until after I want to say like the third week in June.
Okay. So, you know, um, for some high school, especially ones that are graduating, now would be a good time to jump on it now because you wait too long, then those graduating parties, are gonna like want to rent them all up and stuff like that. So I would say if you could sit there and like okay, so let's go back to the Airbnb that you got in Dayton, Ohio for nationals. How
Yeah.
many dudes do how many guys do we have up in there?
I want to say seven.
Yeah, about 6, 7 guys, give or take. So it was cool.
Yeah.
You knew that okay, we come here to we gonna hang out, chill out. Now it was in Dayton, Ohio, which meant you didn't have a whole lot. Whereas if you got an Airbnb out here, then we're talking okay, you got a pool. You can sit there on the patio deck. Okay, for example, let's just use my house for an example. You go out to the backyard, there's the deck, there's the hot tub on one end, there's the fire pit and stuff on the other opposite end, and we're just lawn chairs, we're just kicking it. You got the rooms upstairs, downstairs, and that kind of stuff. Knowing that you got rooms to fill, the more rooms you fill, the more money it is, I guess, for the person who owns the Airbnb, which means you're getting that back. And I'm sure all they ask for is when you guys leave, don't leave the house a wreck. Basically, what they're saying. So
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good idea.
I think that, when we're running, events that we're inviting people, especially from out of town, and talk about an interesting experience at an Airbnb, complete strangers, like, I just envision you and a bunch of Puerto Ricans hanging in the Airbnb, talk about epic content and epic
Oh
relations
yeah.
being, created type of deal. Like, it's just going to it'll be fun. And entertaining at that too, for us all to watch.
I tell you what, if that's an invite for me to come out next year, which I said I was going to anyway, because I kind of owe you one. If that's an invite, okay, and I go out there, the excitement for me is because now it's like, and then this is how I think. So when I go to a different part of the country, especially ones I don't know, I'm not familiar with, then I'm carrying the banner, I'm carrying the Oregon flag on my shoulder when I go there. I'm representing Oregon, representing the Pacific Northwest, all that kind of stuff, because I'm going into uncharted waters, if you may, right? Just like when you and Merlene came out here, you don't know anybody. I mean, aside from me, you don't know nobody else out here. You don't know the
Hmm.
pullers. They know you, but you may not know so much of them. That's how I look at it. Hey, I'm going out there. When I went to Kansas City earlier this year, I went to Arizona a couple weekends ago. So I'm already June 19th, and I've only been to 2 tournaments all year that I competed in. No, I take that back, 3, because it was also nationals. So
Yeah.
I'm already 3 tournaments in. You know, so for me, I'm excited to go elsewhere, because now it's like, okay, cool. I want to see how this portion of the world pulls. I want to see what they got to offer. Now, don't get me wrong. Where I'm in Oregon, we don't. The Pacific Northwest is not a real hotbed for arm wrestling, because it's just we're so spread out. If you notice, look at all the states. They're fucking wide. They're huge. It's just too spread
Yeah.
out. Where East Coast of states get smaller, but there's more people that compete. That's just what it is. So, me going out there, I'm excited. I was foaming at the mouth when I went to Ohio. I went to the Arnold one year. I've gone to Monster Factory. I went to Winter Blast, 500 some odd inches or whatever the fuck it was. And I'm just off my mind, because now I get to pull some of these people that you've
Yeah.
seen on YouTube, social media, whatnot, or even there's people you talk to on the phone, messenger, whatever, but you never actually met them in person. And then there you go over there, and it's like going, okay, cool. I get to sit there and see what I got going on. And so they're curious of you, you're curious of them, and then whatever happens, happens. That's what excites me about going, especially cross country, out of country. I competed out of country twice last year. I was in Canada in October last year, and I went to Mexico in last summer. So, going there, it's just for me, it's a thrill. And I got a chance to pull with a bunch of Team Mexico. Puerto Rico was there too, and I had a great time. So
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool when you get to connect with people from different walks of life and different worlds that you normally wouldn't have. Like, in all honesty, I don't think I would have ever gone to Oregon hadn't been for your event. So I'm grateful for that. Like that,
we
like,
love having you over. We love having you there.
yeah.
So
So I'm gonna change gears up a little bit because I mentioned a couple things about injuries.
okay,
Um, you know, Injuries suck in this sport. I don't wish it upon anybody. Even people who I don't like, I don't wish it upon them.
right.
Um, and I try to prevent my own injuries. I'm a big, on recovery and strengthening and conditioning yourself. And unfortunately, I was on the receiving end of injury this last weekend. Now, after reading my MRI report, 'cause it was serious enough where I needed to get an MRI report. And talking to a couple other people in the sporting industry, in rehab and whatnot. I'm a licensed massage therapist for 15 years. And I'm going to be continuing to be a massage therapist, God willing. But I don't think I'm going to be able to arm wrestle with my left arm ever again, due to an long-standing, injuries throughout the sport and other, activities. Um, it's a pretty serious one. So, and it to the point where I'm not gonna say it's a done deal, but I may not be competing for the remainder of the year, even though I have competitions on my map uh, for this year, and I was planning
On
on
that
going
hand, or just in general?
in general because of the nature of the injury. Even with isometric holds, can actually further damage it, and if I were to get surgery, I wouldn't be capable of holding the peg anyway. So I'm waiting till Thursday. It doesn't look good.
Okay.
So this is me calling out to everyone who's watching. Say a little prayer for me. Send a little hope my way. I
Yeah.
know a little goes a long way. That I could potentially still maintain the trips that I have. I was planning to go to Mexico, to the event you were just mentioning. Hector Beltran is an amazing individual, and I would love to be able to, shake hands with the man. And then also, I was going to be representing the United States at IFA Worlds. So come hell or high water, though, I will say tomorrow is a fundraiser for Worlds. I'm not the only one from New York in my team representing the area. We got Shi Lin who's representing, so the fundraiser is still on because even if I can't go, the funds that are raised will go towards his expenses, and I'm a man of my word. I told everybody in the community that I'm going to be hosting this event, or co-hosting this event, and I'm going to maintain that. I want someone from our corner of the nation to represent the United States, and whether it's me and him or just him, doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's going to happen, and I'm going to be a part of making it happen. That's that's what I believe in. Maintaining this. It hurts. It hurts in the heart, but my message to everyone at home: listen to your body. If you're
Yep.
getting injured, you're not helping anybody.
No.
Um, Take it from me. My left arm really shouldn't have been competing. No excuses to the losses. I was able to squeak home a freaking third place, but that right there just shows like my willpower to compete and hang with everyone. But sometimes the willpower and the power of actual soft tissue don't match up all the time. And you gotta listen to your body. You gotta take care of yourself. Get yourself checked out. I am literally an official member of the Old Man Club, so I got to take better care of myself. As I said, I'm a massage therapist. That's my career. That's where I make my money. I need both these things to be functioning. Um,
I get that.
and you know, one of those things is that while it's functioning, is it effectively functioning the way I need it? I don't know yet because this is still fairly new. I've never experienced it. It does suck, but I will commend the community because every single person that I've spoken to has been nothing but supportive.
Yeah.
That's
I
one
mean,
thing I love about this sport is that when we're experiencing a hardship we all can identify with, even if we can't, we're all there
yeah.
for each other. And those right there are the facts.
I mean, you and I spoke about this, and it was kind of like, we talked about the results and all that kind of stuff and where you want to go from there. And I get it. And yeah, when you get to a certain age, you got to go, okay. And even I have to sit there and remind myself, I'm not as young as these young bucks now. Like, for one, I got into the sport late in life or age wise. So, you know, am I happy of what I accomplished? Yes. Could I have accomplished more? Probably, and it gets to a point where you kind of go, okay, you know what? I can't run a gun with the big dogs anymore, like I used to when I first got into. I got a lot of miles on this body because, prior to me getting to the sport, I was doing semi-pro football, which meant I was just, putting my body through the ringer and still having to get up Monday morning and going to work. So hurt or not. So, man, that was just one of those deals, and I've always did that, the sports, the competitive softball and all that kind of stuff. And, it's just like, I get it, and I'm 50 now. So it's kind of like, I get it. Um, I can't remember. Somebody asked me, how long you think you can do this? I'm like, I don't know, because now I'm down to competing with one arm. And every once in a while I can compete with the right. It's just, certain days I feel good, other days I just feel horrible. So it all depends on how I feel when I wake up that day, But for the most part, I'm just down to competing with one arm, which means my training is cut in half because it's only the one arm now. So I know exactly what you mean. So I've even thought about, is my time starting to shorten? And that's why I do these podcast shows. That's why I am a certified referee. I go out and ref now because, truth be known, like next year is going to be my last year doing any kind of super matches or round robins, that kind of stuff. And after that, I'm done. I'm just going to do tournaments. That's it. I'm not doing no more.
Yeah. No, it's a humbling sport, even if it's just humbling by time.
Right.
I personally don't mind taking losses. I don't mind them. Losses is it's part of that journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking losses because of injury, that's a new one on me. So it's kind of like, I'm like, okay, let's go back to the proverbial drawing board and see where we go from here. And I mean, by Thursday next week, I will have more answers as to what I am to be expected of myself and my own recovery. Um, don't know how long, what the kind of long game it is. Don't know. And you
Mm-hmm.
know what? The one person said to me in this conversations is, listen, everybody's always in a rush to get to an event, to compete at an event, but there's a
Right.
million other events. There's
Yeah.
always an event. There's always an event. Arm wrestling was here long before we put our elbows on the table, and it's going to be here long after our elbows leave the table. So,
Yep.
take your time with it and do it right. And that is, that's an important and powerful message because it's true. Just because there might be 50 events in one weekend, you don't have to hit every single one of them. Say, okay, this year
My wife
we've
told me
talked
that.
about this. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I said my wife, that was the best advice I ever gotten in the sport. My wife told me, she goes, babe, you can't make every event because there's so
Yeah,
many now. You're like going, oh, one. And then you want to put your eggs in that basket, and it's like, oh damn, look at this, look what this is going to happen 2 weeks later. So it's kind of like, you know.
yeah. You have to make your choices. You have to, and because check it out. Just because you can't make one event that looked super appealing just popped up on your radar, last minute type of deal. What about next year or the year after type of deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. I look at people like John Brzenk, you right. You look at Alan Fisher. You look at Cobra Rhodes. These guys were in the sport for multiple decades. Do you think they hit every single event that was like, ooh, that's a nice one? No, they probably maybe in the beginning earlier on, but then at some point they became a little bit more selective as to which events they were going to for that longevity. And I think that's the only way I'm going to be having exercising longevity in the sport is if I'm selective in it and careful, and I'm going to take the time to heal. I was on the phone with somebody for a little bit today, and they were like, "Listen, man, you have all the tools necessary to feel stronger than ever. And during that time frame, you're going to make that right arm. I mean, I do already got a little bit of a pumpkin going right now because I've been training it a little angrily. I'm not going to lie. I've been beating up on this thing. But by the time this
Right.
thing is all, healed up and, to be the peg arm status type of deal, this thing is North American Hellboy. Here I come. You know what I mean? So it may be a blessing in disguise. We won't know exactly what's happening. I do want to go to Japan. I don't know if it's going to happen. I do want to go to Mexico. I don't know if it's going to happen. Life in life's terms, I'll take it as it comes.
There you go. So the moral of this story, everybody, is just listen to your body. Sometimes you gotta listen to more of that than your competitive juices, because sometimes you want to compete so bad, and it's like going, oh, I know I could have done that, if I was there, I would have did this, I would have did that, so on and so on. But at the same time, it don't matter if you're on the shelf hurt. So it's kind of like you gotta sit there and just kind of take things in perspective. Because like I said, I mean, with work and when you try to juggle, for me it's easy. I don't compete as much as I used to do, where now it's like you juggling work, because I now work for the county. You juggling, family time, which that includes family vacations, that kind of stuff. You gotta go, okay, what can I fit in, So Ryan the Bull's in the house.
Of course, Ryan's coming in. What's up, man?
You see his match just got announced?
No, what match?
EVW's next match?
No.
Yeah.
What is it? Say it. Spill the beans.
It's God, see, I forgot his name already. God bless it. Ryan, go ahead and say it. We talked about it on the show, on the Cam Connection. I'm drawing a blank right now because I'm like, dang it.
Forgot which one it was.
Zurab.
Oh, Zurab.
I think it was Zurab.
Ooh, that's gonna be good.
So again, you're talking about, here's Ryan the Bull Belanger, sorry, undefeated right now at EVW.
That's what's
yeah,
up.
see, Zurab, there you go. Undefeated in EVW right now. So think about that for a second. That guy comes from a club where you have Adam Warzinski, Hunter Novs, with the captain, Chad Silver. So he goes way back, because when Chad was competing on a regular basis, he had people like Fritz Corey, Tadzilla originally came from that squad.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Harris was there. And then, when those guys kind of did their own thing, and then you got a new crop, Chad's still there. So, yeah, that's okay, Ryan. It's going to be a tough one. We all know. But you know what, though?
We have faith in you, Ryan.
Something that you like to do, which is going to a hook. That's your specialty. So I would say just make that as strong as you can, because I don't foresee him trying to top roll you, because your last couple matches were against bona fide top rollers. Now you're going to get somebody who has to go into a hook, so you don't have to strain as much to try to get into that hook. So he'll go in there with you. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. Wish you the best of luck, Ryan. That one's out in Europe, right?
China.
Oh, that one's in China. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's China. Right. Man, good luck in China, man. To eat good, eat healthy, be safe, get some sightseeing in there. Enjoy China.
So train hard, my friend. You should be training right now.
Yeah.
Because like I said,
I'm sure he is.
Win,
I'm sure he is.
yeah. Because the more he wins, the more it's like, okay, are you ready for that title shot? It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be coming, don't it? Oh, it's in Georgia?
It's in Georgia.
Okay. I thought it was in China.
No, I think the one after this one is in China.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, he just said it. One after is in China. Gotcha. But still, Georgia is still cool.
What's this? You want me to make a prediction?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody in the chat, y'all ready for this? I know Ryan's still on. I'm going to make a prediction. You ready for this?
Let's go.
Ryan, you win this match against Zurab. The next time you pull, it will be for that championship match, EVW December in Las Vegas. That's my prediction.
Ooh, you heard it here. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Coast to Coast podcast, you heard it here from Jody Williams.
Because think about it. If you go Georgia, right? Then after that, the next one's in China. And then I believe the next one is it might be somewhere else. And then Las Vegas in December. So I'm telling you right now, man, Well, he got done training. That a boy. I mean, it is like 8:30 over there. So, but yeah, I'm telling you, if Ryan pulls this off, there's got to be a title match.
Yeah.
And why not have the title match in Las Vegas in December?
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
That's what
think about it.
I agree with you.
Because if all the EVWs are 6 weeks out or whatever after the previous one, so a month and a half, right? So we're talking mid-July or something like that? Is that enough time? Mid-July or something like that? Mid-July, late July. And then the next one will be in China.
I think it's in August 1st, and then China's going to be September 16th.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, if it's me being a homer, fine. But I really think that if Ryan gets this win, there's got to be a title match.
Yeah.
And why not have that title match in the States, in Las Vegas? It only makes sense, right?
I agree with you tenfold, man. I think it would be perfect for Ryan. Over that, talk about a layup. So Ryan, you're gonna win this one. Plain and simple. It's not if, it's when.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Well, Jody, we've been at this for about an hour and a half. What else? Do we have anything else we want to talk about? We covered a lot of ground today.
No, I think we covered a lot of ground. I'm excited for the next EVW. Now, my man, I mean, the matches are starting to come out now, so
it's gonna be good.
Exciting. So I mean, bit by bit, they're coming out, so it's going to be exciting. So Ryan says, all I can promise is that I won't be outworked, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to stay. There you go.
There you go.
There you go, folks. So
anybody who's on the East Coast looking for something to do tomorrow, I will say, if you're looking for something fun to do, come check out the boxing gym, Babylon Boxing Gym in West Babylon, New York. We got a little bit of a fundraiser helping raise some money for our local guys that are going to IFA Worlds in Japan. That's going to be late September. So, we get to connect with, the boxing community. We actually have a black belt, a Gracie black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu master who's doing a little fun thing called Long Island Hold'em. If you can keep him down for any amount of specifically, I think like 30 seconds or something like that,
right,
you can win some prize money, like $250 or something like that. So let's go tough, guys. If you think you got what it takes to, keep this man down, keep him pinned, and if he can't escape, then you might walk away, a wealthier man.
There you go.
But we got Thomas Dearborn. I don't know if anyone knows who that is. Thomas Dearborn's showing up from Maine to support the event too. So I'm really excited for that. But other than that, I think next month we'll have a couple of more things to talk about. Next month is July. Let's see, what do we got coming up in July? Anything? Any big events?
I'm trying to think. Well, I know the last part of this month will be the AUA National.
Okay. We have the AUA National.
We'll have to talk about. That'll take place in Oklahoma. So
I know July 18th is going to be the Across the Border event, Across the Border 4. So that's over with Hector Beltran. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that I'll still be able to make that. But either if I can or cannot. I know one of my training partners is going to be going down there. I also know a bunch of Puerto Ricans are going down there, and a surprise is going down there as well. A couple other people who have said they want to keep it hush hush. So we're gonna some United States monsters are not the monster, but some monsters that are lurking in the shadows are going to be coming down to Mexico to dominate and show them what U.S. arm wrestling is all about. I look forward to seeing and hearing that.
I like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, for let's call it $199, you can stick around and come in for the After Dark. Just go ahead and send that over to in the New York edition. Exactly. Send it over to Jody. Send that over to me, Dan the Nightmare. We'll be happy to collect your money and let you into our After Dark session. But thank you so much for tuning in. Much love and appreciation to the entire community. Let's go.